Well, I've just finished another process with the Canadian government to do with my mental health. A few years back, I realized I was losing it in trying to deal with the system as it is, and felt as if I was going insane because nothing seems to make sense in Canada anymore. It's become painfully obvious that the system isn't meant to work. Um, People who need help aren't supposed to get it, and it seems like although we all know that adoption is a traumatizing experience, and that we are statistically more likely to end up in bad life scenarios and struggle, that there is no assistance, there is no admittance, and I don't really know what to do about it anymore. Um, it was hard enough to admit that I was struggling and needed some help and needed some psychological help, and to go in and try and get that, and the farther and farther I went along the process, the more and more I was falling down this rabbit hole of insanity and an affront to logic and reason. And I mean, that's why I went in the first place, because nothing was making sense anymore. And I don't know, like what do I have to prove to you that you know I've gone through hell, and I have come up short. Um, that's pretty pathetic. And I'm at my wit's end. Yeah, today was just kind of a situation where, yeah, I just throw up my hands in the air. I don't know at this point. I think the only solution for myself is to sue the government in the Supreme Court and hope to hell that in getting there, uh, for to sue for some big money, that at that point I might entice some lawyers who might want to who see a profit to help me, and then possibly have some psychiatrists that will agree to get me what I need. But that again just seems corrupt, and it seems backwards to me, and that's the big problem I guess I'm having right now, is that I've come to this ultimate realization that I don't live in a very good country. They don't give a shit. Their decisions are made for the economy. Humanity is tossed out the window to make a few bucks, to grease somebody's palms. I deal with doctors and politicians and social workers, and these people that don't seem to be thinking at all. It seems like you could put anyone in that position that can just follow directions to a T without processing them and without considering what those directions may be, what sort of harm those directions might be causing in the long run. So, I don't know. I guess the next step for me is simply courts, and I'm going to give myself a pass on the mental health, and just accept that I don't agree with society. I don't um, see it as something I want to cooperate in or participate in, because I see it as corrupt and evil, and a not very I mean, if you're hurting people and you're going in a backwards direction, well, then why participate in that? Um, Personally, I think that establishes that I've come out of sync with society and cannot function in it, and would classify me as having a mental disorder for the society I'm attached to. Um, that being said, well, then I just have to conclude that the society I'm attached to is just beyond help and insane, and do my best to try to resolve my citizenship with Canada. I don't know if there's any other better places in this world that aren't, um, you know, so messed up. But I mean, if it's worse than Canada, and a lot of people say it is out there, that um, I don't know. I don't know. What's the answer? Revolution? Is it time to revolt? Is it time for the peoples to stand up? Um, you know, I guess we're seeing more and more adoptees freaking out, like that shooting we just had a few days ago. Um, and my heart goes out to that guy. If he if he went through what I've just gone through in the last 4 years, well, I can relate with wanting to go shoot up a bunch of people. Me personally, I never really understood why these gunmen choose school settings, if that's even true. I mean, for all I know, the government's just making up this shit and lying. But an adoptee losing their shit and going on a rampage, I get it. I get it for sure, and I feel bad for these adoptees that end up in jails and situations where they kill their families and kill a bunch of people, and it's fucking brutal, because that's it. I mean, you're creating all these people that are in this brutal situation, and if one day they happen to stop and have that moment of clarity of what's been done to them and for what purpose, well, it's a lot to take, and it's infuriating, it's incendiary, um, and I get it. I do. And you know, in the back of my mind and my thoughts, um, unfortunately, there's violence. It's brewing. I'm doing my best to live by spiritual precepts, and keep my frustrations and anxieties and things under control. Um, Pray and try to you know practice patience in these things, but there's only so many slights against logic that someone can take. I feel like I've woken up on an operating table with these idiots operating on me that obviously don't know what they're doing, and me having to open textbooks and learn surgery to fix myself, and try and keep these people out of my innards long enough uh, without them causing more damage. That's an allegory of how I feel about my mental health situation, of what's going on. Um, I'm terrified that I'm living in a community of people that have been put in positions that are possibly intellectually stunted, and completely designed to be these automaton type robotic creatures without empathy, without any humanity left to them, concerned only about their job and keeping their own heads above water. And I know that scenario is tough to be in for a lot of people, um, and putting a large portion of the populace in a survival type situation, in a an up and down economy, and keeping people always off kilter and struggling to keep their own foundations. I empathize. I do. But my empathy is not helping me. So I guess the solution is to ditch the Christianity, maybe ditch that mentality, and look at something a little bit more predatory, whether it be, you know, some sort of you know, Islamic group, join the jihad, because certainly they don't like a lot of the same people I'm not liking right now. Do I join the Jews? I mean, they've got a great populace. Just lie. It's that easy. Lie to people who aren't Jewish, and lie on your contracts and lie on all this shit, and just contribute to the deceptive world that we live in, and accept that the only way to survive here is to lie through your teeth and be dishonest. It goes kind of against my AA program of vigorous honesty, which has kept me sober for 4 years in April. But what am I to do? Honesty's not working. When I talk to these people, like every once in a while you get one of these social workers that's telling you to lie or not to do something. Here, I'm going to send you these forms. Don't fill them out. It won't help you. It's like, I guess maybe I'm just waiting for someone to say, Todd, the system is criminal. It's absolutely criminal, and you were right. And there's no way, there's no getting around it. You live, breathe, and work at the whim of tyrants, and ones that are sicker than you could imagine, possibly. I don't know. Um, I don't know if any of you out there know of any good adoptee advocates for their mental health when we struggle in Canada. Let me know. You know, I'm aware of myself. I'm aware of how I feel. I'm fairly aware of the bigger picture and the scenarios that we're facing. But I mean, this is all new to me as well, and I've done a lot of research, and it I I I still need help too for my community, and that's you guys. And I'm tired. I'm pooped out. I got to refocus, and I got to redirect my energy towards some sort of understanding of how to set my boundaries, get all my rights back, all my liberties back, and continue forward in towards a more sovereign situation, uh, and being freed of this phony baloney life that was laid over top of my natural birth here, and readopt myself into the situation, and accept that this life I'd been living was insane. Um, it wasn't real. I mean, that's the insanity of it. That adoption is insanity, really, because it's not real. It's just paper. It's people signing into existence new parents, new archetypes into your life, and it's bullshit. And I've had enough. And I don't know. I need some people who have maybe worked on this and have a better view of it, or better legal understanding of it, or maybe a better psychological understanding of it. So I'm open to all sorts of recommendations from you folks, and you know leave links and ideas in the comments for me if you can. Thanks a lot. Peace and love.